Chonko, and in this video I'm going to talk about how we can call one microservice from another microservice using Feign client. So Feign is basically a cloud project that is provided by Spring, and we can use it to make calls to another microservice from one microservice. And typically in a microservice environment we would want various services. We would want to orchestrate various services to fetch a particular result and return it to the client. So in this example we have this product service. So let's take a look at the product Pojo class. So this is the product Pojo class. So it has a product name, it has a product ID, and it has location details. So this location is another Pojo class. So inside location we have city, we have zip code, and we have street, and we have port. So these are the various attributes of the location class, and location is a part of product, and we'll be fetching the location from a different service. So there's a different service that provides a location for a particular product, and we would need to orchestrate, or we need to internally call the location service to fetch the complete details of a product and return it to the client. So first let's take a look at the location service. So let's take a look at the POM and see the dependencies for this project. So we have Spring Boot Starter Web. So this makes this project a web project, and then we have Eureka Netflix Eureka client. So this would make this project a client of the discovery server. So we're going to use a discovery server. We're going to register this service with the discovery server. If you're not already familiar with discovery servers, then I would recommend you to pause this video and take a look at my other video where I talk about discovery servers. And then we have dev tools and starter test. So these are the dependencies that we have for location service. And let's take a look at the control. Let's take a look at the model for the Pojo class for location. So we have city, we have zip code, we have street, and we have port. Variable or this attribute for a specific region. So we'll get to know that the later part of the video. And then let's take a look at the controller. So this is a very simple controller, and this is the path which would be fetching us, or which would be leading us to this particular controller. And then we have this server.port. So when we have this @value annotation, this value is going to be injected from a properties file into this particular variable. So this is nothing but the server, or the port on which we'll be running our service. And then we have this get mapping, which would fetch us the location details, or rather which would return the location details. So I have hard coded this city name, and then I've hard coded the zip code, and I've hard coded the street, and then we are getting the port from the port on which we are running this service. So that is basically it. This is the entry point for the application. So now let's take a look at the product service. So again, this is the entry point for the application, right? We didn't see the application, the properties file for this project. So this is the name location service with which it is gonna this service, a location service project, is gonna register itself with the discovery client, which is essentially a Eureka server. And let's take a look at the product service now. So we have this is the entry point for the product service application, and here I've mentioned enable Feign clients. Okay, first let's take a look at the dependencies for this project. So in dependencies we have Spring Boot Starter Web. So this makes it a web project or a web application. And then we have Netflix Eureka client. So this project would be, this application would register itself with the discovery server, which is essentially a Eureka server. And then we have dev tools and starter tests, and we have this open Feign. So this is the project that is provided by Spring Cloud, and this is a cloud project, and we can use this to leverage the power of Feign client to make a call to another web service or to another microservice from our microservice. So let's take a look at this class. So this is the entry point for the application, and here we have enable Feign clients annotation. So this is going to enable the Feign client, and then we have inside the controller we have this interface. So here, if you notice, this is annotated as Feign client, and I have put the name as location service. So this is exactly the same name with which this service, location service, is going to register itself with the discovery server. So this is the name with which the location service is going to register itself with the discovery server, and we're going to make a call to this service, location service, from this application or this project. So this is one microservice which calls another microservice, and this is the name of the microservice with which the other microservice is registered with the discovery server. So we are not providing the URL, we are not providing the host and port for the other microservice. We are rather providing the name with which it is registered with the discovery server. And this is important because we might have multiple instances of one microservice running, so and the host and port might keep changing dynamically. So that is very common in a microservices ecosystem, and that is why we'd rather provide the name instead of providing a hard-coded URL or providing the host and the port for the service. And then we have this interface, and then we have this abstract method which has get mapping annotation, and this is exactly the path that we have here, location controller. Okay, so we're gonna make a call to this service, and this is exactly the same path that we have provided here, and we're not going to provide an implementation for this method. Spring is going to provide an implementation for us at runtime. So that is how Feign client works, and based on this path, it is going to look up this service. So we have provided a service name with which the service which we want to call is registered with the discovery server, and we have provided the path for to which we want to make a call to. So Spring is going to understand, yeah, so this is the service that I want to call, and this is the path that I want to make a call to. So Spring is going to understand that and provide an implementation for us, rather than us having to provide an implementation for this abstract method, right? And then next up we have this product controller. So here I have auto-wired location service proxy. So this is nothing but the interface that we talked about just now, and I've taken, so here again we have this, we have already seen this class. So this is the product class which has got a product name, which has got a product ID, and which has got a location. So location is again a class inside which we have city, we have a zip code, we have street, and then we have port, right? So to fetch the location details, I have called this get location method for this location service proxy interface, and the implementation for this method is going to be provided by Spring, and then we are returning the product. Sure. So the product name and product ID I have hard coded, and location we are fetching from location service. So that is basically it. And then we have this application properties. So this is the name with which it is again going to register itself with a discovery server, and this is a port on which it is going to run. Okay, so let's start the applications and see how they work. First up, I'm going to start the discovery server. So the discovery server would be running on port, okay, it would be running on port 8761, and we're gonna go to web browser and have a look at the dashboard for our Eureka server. Alright, let's give it some time to start. Right, our Eureka server is up, and currently we have only the Eureka server registered with itself and nothing else. So now let's do one thing. Let's run a location service, and I'm going to say run configurations. I'm going to select location service, arguments, and I'm going to put this argument or rather this property. I'm going to say -t server.port, and then I'm going to put the port number, say 8282, and say apply and run. Alright, let's do one thing. Let's just have another instance of this service. So I'm going to select location service, arguments, and say 8383 as a port number, and run this. And one more instance so that we can understand what's going on. So I'm going to select location service, and I'm going to say 8484, and then run this. So let's take a look at our dashboard. Let's refresh this. Okay, so we have one location service up, and that is running on port 8282, right? Okay, so we have two location services right now, and one is on 8383 and the other is on 8282. So refresh this again. Let's give it some time. Right, so we have three location service instances. So one is running on 8282, 8383, and 8484. These are the three services or three instances of location service that we have right now. And let's run product service. So I'm going to say run as Spring Boot app. So let's just have one instance of product service for the time being. And it's going to run on 8181, right? So let's just get our URL ready. I'm going to use Postman for testing the API. Alright, so this is our this is a URL which is going to fetch us the product details, or which is going to land us here in the product controller. So it's running on 8181, right? And this is the path. So /API/v1/product is the path. So let's, alright, first let's see if it is registered with the discovery server. So we have product service registered with the discovery server, and it's running on port 8181. So let's hit this URL. Alright, so we have the product details, and the location details is actually coming from an internal microservice which is called location service, and this is a port, or this is the instance which is returning the location service, or location details rather. So 8383. So we have three instances of location service which are running on 8282, 8383, and 8484. And 8383 is the one which is returning this location service, location details. So let's send it again. Okay, so we have this time it is returned by 8282. Now we have the port as 8383, and then we have 8484. Again we have 8282, 8383, 8484. So Feign client internally uses ribbon for client-side load balancing. So client-side load balancing is basically when you have multiple instances of a service that are running or that are registered with the discovery server, and you need to choose one instance out of all the instances of the service that are running or that are registered with the discovery server is client-side load balancing. So if we do not provide any any of our own algorithm or any of our own rule for client-side load balancing, then by default it uses round-robin load balancing mechanism or round-robin load balancing rule. So we can see first we are getting 8484. So then we are getting 8383, and now 8282. Again would be getting 8484, 8383, 8282. So this would continue like that. Alright, now let's try to do one thing. Let's try to provide our own rule. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a class, and I'm gonna say client load balancing rule. I'm gonna put this inside com.product.config package. Click on finish. And I'm gonna say @configuration, and I'm going to provide an iRule bean. So I'm going to say bean and say public iRule, say random rule. I'm going to just say return new random say return new random rule. So instead of round robin, this time it is gonna randomly select a client, or it is gonna randomly select an instance of the service and get the result for us. So let's see if it is. And since we have dev tools in our dependencies, it is going to auto restart and auto deploy this service, product service. Now let's see if it is up and registered with the discovery server. Yep, it is. Now let's try to send this. Let's take a look at the server port. So we have 8383 now. Let's send it again. We have 8282. Send it again. We have 8282 again. Again we have 8383. Again we have 8282, 8484, 8282, 8484. So we can see it is no more happening in a round robin fashion. Rather, it's just returning a random port or a random instance. It is selecting a random instance to get a result. So that is how this iRule bean works. So if Spring finds an iRule bean, it is no more going to implement, or it is no more going to, you know, have this round robin rule for our client-side load balancing. It is rather going to whatever iRule implementation we are providing here inside the bean, it is going to have that as a load balancing rule for the client. That is how Feign client works, and that is how we can call other microservices using Feign client. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did enjoy, please give it a thumbs up, and thanks for watching.